All right, what do we got here? Hey, this guy stole my line. Let me turn this down a second and let's get back into it. So, we are currently watching a VOD of something I did this past Thursday. I participated in the Aegis Esports TFT Showdown, a tournament, the first tournament I was in, and we got multi-talented to start with. And so I'm going to be reviewing these VODs because, well, let's just say nothing crazy happened here. So we got multi-talented. So our headliners are going to have 2 traits active. And I want to take a look at some of these videos because none of them in individuality do anything amazing, but together I learned infinite. I was able to learn a lot about how to play this set, how to play in a competitive setting, and about myself, about my mental. So to start off here, we drop a bunch of stuff. We drop a Mordekaiser. We have an Echo out there, and there was a Lily I passed up because I didn't want to necessarily grab. So I guess tip 1 we're going to talk about is that your headliner, balance things out. I dropped a lot of frontliners to help me out. So onto the backliners. Now let's get to the first decision point here. Is the first augment. So with that Annie, I was able to get Emo and Spellweaver active thanks to Echo. I have Sentinels going. I have a bunch of things going. So now, what augment do I want to take? And I'm offered starter kit, harm assist, and roll the dice. I have a very strong start. So my mentality is let's keep the strength. So out of these, starter kit, I kind of have what I'm playing locked in. Harm assist seems like it could be good overall, and roll the dice. Well, that's the one that interests me the most. 2 Rascal Gloves. We have pumping up prismatic tickets. I'm not gonna be rerolling Annie. I think that's a bit of a bait, a bit of a throw. So I ended up going with roll the dice here to give myself an incredibly strong start, and I'm able to do that. Instant slam the Nashor's Tooth. By this roll the dice, I have Spellweaver, I have Emo, I have Sentinel, I have True Damage in. I give myself a very strong start, and then I throw a cloak onto Yasuo to make sure that I'm getting some extra boosts on him, get that true damage value, the bling bonus. And this enables me to, even though my first opponent is someone with Cruel Pact, I'm still able to beat them, which sets me up in a great position. And so let's talk about the format of this tournament right away, because there's a lot of them in some of the larger tournaments. There's several rounds, all this, and it's all about average placements and all this. Here it's a little more cutthroat. You either top 4 or you get knocked out. So I am focused on consistently playing my strongest board, making sure my strongest board is always out there, and keeping me healthy. As an average, as a known reroller, the prismatic ticket Annie, maybe in normals, that's what I attempt to go for. But here, I want to make sure I'm showing strength, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Another thing is I'm consistently buying out my shop. That's a very important thing to keep in mind. Is buy out your shop, because if I hit a 2-star Olaf, suddenly the board I play becomes a little different because I can field some 2-stars. I'm also scouting a bunch more, seeing what the competition looks like, and overall, yeah, I'm prepared to sell. I'm prepared to sell, provided I can win this, and I think I can. This double radiant item on Echo is fantastic. It allows him to stay alive much longer while my Annie pumps out some damage. And look at that, I'm able to sell up to 10, get rid of the Kale, and now, what do we go for on Carousel? We have an open cloak, we have an Annie. What do you go for on Carousel? Think about that for a second. Because what I'm thinking about is completing a tank item. Let's get a second tank item cooking. We have this cloak. A spark could be useful for me, or just a finished tank item. Definitely plenty of options available to me. Of course, as the last pick, my options aren't that clear. But I go for the tank item here. I go to complete a Dragon Claw. I scouted around. I noticed that a lot of people are playing AP, so I want to make sure I have that. And now I level, keep the power. Playing a second Mordekaiser doesn't give me any more synergies active necessarily, but it does make sure that I have more meat on the board and ensure that I can win more rounds. So we're against somebody with hedge fund, definitely leaning into the late game. And I'm very focused on early game here. So that allows me to keep the win again. See what we can do. We have a Corki offered to us, but I don't think that necessarily fits into our board right now. I'm definitely leaning AP for better or worse. You know, Nashers could fit on a lot of people. And now I'm at a tough spot where I want to make sure I make 20 here. And I'm considering this Vex, you know, does having more backline make me more powerful? And it does. It does in theory. We'll see though. We'll see, because she doesn't get any things active. She has Emo. And this guy I get a bit worried about. I get a little bit worried about. But as long as this Echo is able to get a final cast off, he gets the job done. And look at that. One more cast out of Echo. And perfect. My first stage 2 in a tournament is beautiful. And I'm able to 5-streak throughout it. I have 30 gold. I'm on a 5-streak. I have decent direction. And I have you know, a way to progress forward. So what's coming up is going to be one of the most important decision points. You know, it's pretty much every augment round is a very important decision point. So let's look at our board right now. Let's make sure he comes back. Let's see if we can see everything. So we have this board available to us. Now there's a bunch of decisions that are going to be coming up. One is, do we slam any items? Do we make a crown guard right now, or do we try to greed out better items? 2 is, what is our next augment going to be? What are we looking for in an augment? You know, if we keep that in mind, it'll help us pick our augments sooner. And lastly, the new thing with set 10 is the actions we take past that. And we have 3 things available to us. We can sell our headliner, we can level up, and we can roll. Those are 3 things we can do, and we can do any combination of those. We could roll at a lower level. We could roll for a new headliner by selling our current headliner. We could level up and not roll. There, you know, and any permutation of those are possible. So given this spot, what do you think you would do? And we'll let the fight play out, because maybe the way the fight goes works. So first of all, I immediately commit to leveling. I'm on a win streak. Let's make sure we can level. Get some extra synergies in, and I'm making space on my bench, so in case we lose, and we likely are going to lose, we're up against the Cruel Pact guy, who's had a chance to stabilize. But now, so the options are, do we sell the headliner? Do we get a new headliner, or do we keep our current one? What are your thoughts? I'll give you some time to think. You know, let's watch these dancers. You know, we got beat by a Cruel Pact guy. Acceptable, understandable. So for augments, we're looking around here, and personally, we hit one of my favorites, healing orbs, and I decide to sell the headliner. I think we can find someone better, and Kale is offered immediately. With Pentakill and Edgelord, we activate that. We have Edgelord active, we have Pentakill active. Kale is an excellent holder of Nashor's Tooth, and that's something I believe I'd check, maybe because it's, yeah, I'm checking right now. Her ability is she does more damage after she casts. So by giving her Nashor's Tooth, she's going to attack faster after she casts. That seems like a pretty good combination. And so that was a very clean 3-2. You know, we were able to upgrade our board without spending too much gold, but we found ourselves a new headliner. You know, Annie's only going to last us for so long. And this allows us to try and figure out the direction our board's going to be in as we go forward. And I'm thinking about Karthus, I'm thinking about Akali, you know, I'm thinking Executioners. This seems like a decent setup for them. And of course, I continue to scout around, make sure I'm aware of the strength of boards I'm up against. And we see this guy hit an early what's that guy's name? Yorick, an early Yorick. And unfortunately whomps me thanks to that. Not solely thanks to the Yorick, but thanks to the D-claws and just the sheer strength of their board. So, and they're already level 7 as well, which is incredibly potent. They invested a lot. So, we're back on the carousel again. Now, what do we go for here? That's the important question. What do we go for here? You know, we have an open rod, we have an open vest. What do we try to acquire? You know, do we want more tank items? Do we want some backline items? For me, I decide to go for the tier here. Is that the best? I don't know. Because the thing is that I'm eager to slam on Archangels, but that locks me into playing. I mean, it doesn't necessarily lock me into playing Karthus, but it heavily encourages me to play Karthus. Because Karthus, of course, is a unit that does not get AP from their traits. So supplemental AP from items is going to be very useful. And also, there's another thing to note there, is that I sold my Yasuo. I decided to drop true damage in order to play 4 Sentinel, as I think that makes my board more powerful. So, of course, you know, remain flexible. Try and see what your strongest board is at any point in time and play that. And that's what I do here. I try and do that. But I also realize, it's probably right about now that I realize I actually lost Edgelord thanks to losing Yasuo. So I managed to keep true damage in thanks to the Senna in the backline, this kind of hokey-pokey backline I have back here. So I keep true damage, but I lose Edgelord, which is, of course, power to Caitlyn. And so that leads, that leads me a little risk. I'm a little worried here. This guy also has a Radiant Thieves Gloves. Very scary. I was worried I was going to lose this one, but fortunately I come out on top, and I'm able to win this fight. So we're back on top. We're back with some proper speed. And we make it into neutrals. We have 40 gold again. We're level 7. We're on tempo. I'm keeping this Jinx on the bench just in case I can't make 40. I want to make sure I make 40. Make sure I make these intervals. Senna we're not keeping long term, so we play around that. We sell some units. We have Aphelios who's better than Jinx. We try and do that. And now, of course, let's look at our board, because our next big decision point is coming up. We're going to be offered an augment. So what kind of augment are we looking for? Do we want econ? Do we want combat power? Do we want a trait-specific augment? Is that what we're looking for? And then also, we have what do we do with our headliner? Again, our 3 options are sell our headliner, level up, and or roll, or any combination of the 3. Given this board right now, what do you think you would do? And again, I'll let the fight play out as you consider that. Consider what augments we're looking for, what items we want to slam. I go for a Hodge here. Again, I'm very much leaning into Karthus. I think Karthus is my way out of this game, my way into first place. Have I forgotten that Edgelord isn't active? Who knows? Who knows? But as you can see, we win this fight handedly. As you will see soon. I've watched this video a few times, so I'm a spoiler alert. But so we know what happens. So we win this fight. Awesome. Now, what augment do we take? Return on investment, big grab bag, or crash test dummies? Do any of these stand out to you? Because in hindsight, big grab bag and crash test dummies stands out to me. I think those two will be excellent supplements to our board. We can get extra items going. We have a lot of people we want to itemize if we go for a Karthus board. Crash test dummies is just an insanely strong augment. But unfortunately, I go return on investment. I'm a bit autopiloted here, and not only do I go return on investment, but I sell the Kayle. I leveled up and I sold the Kayle. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh well, I'm gonna roll for a champion here, and I'll be fine, and I'll get a free Tactician's Crown. I can't even afford to get a chosen. I was hoping for an Akali or a Karthus, but I couldn't even afford to roll too much. So now I'm down a Tactician's Crown. I'm definitively weaker. And I'm playing an unitemized, unsynergized Thresh, and I'm carrying a non-headliner Senna. I was going to say I get lucky with this fight, but I actually don't get lucky. I sold my headliner, and I lost. I locked to keep Urgot, but this was one of the most disastrous decisions I've ever made in a game, was selling that Kayle. And so now I am in a tough position. I am begging for a Karthus bailout here. Because Senna, of course, Senna is an AP carry, so these items aren't bad on her. I have the Aphelios to supplement her. But I lost a lot of stuff. I'm playing 2 very low-cost units, and I lose again. So I'm looking for a lot to bail me out. And now, lose streaking, there is an argument for it, especially early game. Maybe you want to lose streak, maybe you want to make some money. But here, I'm lose streaking in the top spot. So now, not only am I lose streaking, but I'm losing the ability to even roll, to even get carousel prio. Excuse me. So now we're in placement salvage mode. So I spot the Senna. Not the Senna, the Samira, who I'm going to be leaning on to help give me Executioner once I find this Karthus, if I ever do. But it's going to be very unlikely, and I made the terrible decision of committing to a unit that I didn't have and rolling for it with no gold. So that is probably one of the biggest takeaways from this video, is the mistakes I made there. So fortunately, I am able to win a fight. The team is starting to come together. They're starting to put some work in. I got a lot of two-star frontliners, which is very good, but you can see I'm wiggling my mouse around this Thresh, and I'm very upset that I have no items on him, despite, headlining him. And I have Guardian active solely through Thresh, so it's not even that great. So, you know, we're in a tricky position here. But fortunately, I'm able to at least piece together a good board and take another round. I believe I take this round, hopefully. Nice. So I take the round. I missed 20. I missed 20 gold, but I'm at least able to streak into neutrals. And I try to play this Lucian. I throw Lucian out there. That is a better rapid fire, so that does synergize with my Senna, who is primarily carrying me right now. But I know that, you know, I agree for myself a bit. I have to now roll again at 8. I had to sack that whole stage and roll again at 8. I'm considering this Echo. I'm like, well, does he fit in? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So now I'm forced to itemize this Mordekaiser. And now, of course, you know, another inflection point. Do I sell this? So now we have the options to roll and to sell the headliner. We can't even level. We're not hitting 9, and we've guaranteed that we're not hitting 9 thanks to our early mistakes. But I for sure need to roll thanks to this return on investment. And Lucian, not enough to get it done. I managed to find myself another Guardian, which is excellent. But now it's just desperation rolling. We get the Samira 2, which is very okay. We managed to get 4 Guardian in. That's very okay. We do sell the Mordekaiser to try and get items on our Thresh. And I'm still checking. Return on investment hasn't paid out. I am still down a gold augment versus everybody. So that makes my life very difficult. I have my Lucian getting beat up in the back line, and I take another loss. So it's tough. It's tough. We gotta send it down. We managed to 2-star our guy again. We get Karthus in, and it's at this point where so we finally get return on investment. We finally get that Tactician's Crown, and it's time that we play Karthus. So we have Executioner in, awesome, but our carry is still Senna. Our carry is still Senna, and so now we don't have her synergized, and we have this Karthus for whatever reason, not really doing much for us. And it looks like we're taking another L here. Echo puts in a lot of work, but they already have double Ginsu Sona and a 2-star Jhin. Like, that's what we're up against. That's how fast the tempo can go in these games. So now I'm looking for anything that can help me out here. A Sojin is excellent, of course, provided I'm able to play this Karthus. And so now we just got to keep desperation rolling. And thankfully we do hit the Karthus. So we end up selling that old Senna that was carrying us for a bit, and we managed to get Bruiser Mosher in. You know, we're getting some pieces together. I'm so flustered that my Alawi tentacles are just mispositioned. We're not doing much, and it's looking like we are gonna meet our end, unfortunately. But we managed to scrape by with a 4th place. Not the kind of entrance I was hoping to see coming into this tournament. So let's reflect on what happened here. You know, we played an excellent early game. Our stage 2 was picture perfect. Our 3-2 pivot from Annie into Kayle was picture perfect. But then we get to 4-2, and that's where things go south. You know, don't play on autopilot. Make sure you're keeping track of your board strength and what you need to be stronger. I did not need to find a Karthus to make my board stronger. Once I sold the Kayle, I absolutely needed to find that Karthus. And without any gold to do so, I just wasn't in a position to do it. So, fortunately, I managed to top 4 thanks to that strong start, but now I know, you know, Kayle can get some work done. Don't be too eager to sell your headliners as you get deeper into the game. You know, your 1-cost headliner, they're fungible. You can toss them in and out however you want to. But the 2-cost headliners, be a little more disciplined about how you treat them. I keep that Kayle, I preserve 30 HP, and then I have so much more gold to roll for that Karthus once the time comes. So, those are the lessons I learned from the first game. Let us get into the second one. And now we're into game 2. Alright, so we made it to round 2, gang. And so we have a choice between 3-cost start, gold per item, or double component carousel. I'll almost always go for the double component carousel. I love having the extra items, giving myself the ability to figure things out. And we do get it. I mean, did I even vote for that? Maybe I voted for 1 cost. But we get double component carousel regardless. And we start with a Vi. So now I have my my info from last game. You know, let's Let's make our good 2-3 pivots, but let's be a little more careful about our 3-2 pivots. You know what I'm saying? Or I guess no, make a good 3-2, careful about 4-2. You know what I mean. And so now again, of course, the early thing is what is our first headliner going to be? And unfortunately, one of my early mistakes comes in this game. I'm thinking about Taric, and I think Taric could be good. And actually, Taric could have been great. But instead, I'm eyeing up this Evelynn. And do you know why I'm eyeing up this Evelynn? Well, one, I think I have decent frontline. And two, it's because I've heard Evelynn is good. That's it. I've heard Evelynn is good. We get Crowd Diver on her. We have the ability to potentially slam a Ginsu's. And our first augment. You know, let's ignore our headliner selection for a moment. Let's look at these augments. We have a Ramping Rhythm, Scapegoat, and Heroic Grab Bag. Well, Ramping Rhythm could be very good, but I'm nervous to, and we actually have decent items for rapid fires. You know, we could slam a Rage Blade, but that doesn't synergize well with our Evelynn, and then we're locked into playing rapid fire for the rest of the game. Scapegoat gives us some extra gold, and Heroic Grab Bag can give us an immediate 3-cost 2-star if we want it. So what would you take here? Personally, what I end up doing is I roll past that. I like Ramping Rhythm. I like Scapegoat. I think this early econ can do great things for us. And so I allow the econ to do things for us. And I put in some Guardians, and I'm hoping for Superfans soon to help hopefully get some stuff done for us. I see the ability to make a Vi. And so again, I try to play an aggressive board. Now, I may have made some mistakes here. So Scapegoat allows us to print a gold every time our front thing dies. And we managed to win the first round against someone who stays level 3. And they're hard committed to Disco, or Dazzler, I believe. I believe that's the old Razzle Dazzle is the augment they have, which heavily encourages them to lean into Dazzlers. So meanwhile, we are leaning into this Evelynn. And so we have a Rage Blade, which is a pretty good slam. And we have some Rapid Fires. So now I'm thinking, like, man, should I have just been playing Rapid Fire? What do we do here? I'm also trying to figure out, can I make Econ? Because I have this Vi. I have this 2-star Vi, which is great. You know, 2-star unit's awesome. But she's synergyless, and she's not doing anything for me. We pop another gold out of our Scapegoat. And it looks like we managed to win. We managed to win. So, you know, I become an Evelynn believer here. I become an Evelynn believer. Not too bad. Couldn't figure out how to make Econ, so, you know, we just buy up some extra units. And now comes a critical decision. You know, what do we do here? We get a better Guardian in. But what is this Vi still doing in there? Do we ditch this Vi? I think we should. Let's analyze this. We have Echo, Seraphine, Katarina, K'Sante available to us. You know, we could lean into like a KDA board here. Something that I am familiar with. But we also have this Rage Blade, which is throwing me a bit for a loop. And we have this Open Cloak just chilling. So I opt to just make Econ. Or we get somebody with Stars Are Born on a Lilia. And this may spell doom for us. And it does. We simply don't have too strong of a board. And I overvalued the Vi. And so I do try to lean into to Echo Seraphine, see if I can get some Spellweaver action going. And I over-prioritize this Evelynn because she has Crowd Diver on her, which is a very good trait. Don't get me wrong. Crowd Diver is excellent. You know, you get some stuns on the back line. Things are excellent. But, you know, she's my only damage. So as soon as she dies, what is Crowd Diver doing for me? Not much. I also opt to slam a Guard Breaker because I'm definitely leaning towards some form of backline carry at this point. But who is going to use Rage Blade and Guard Breaker? You know, it's not an easy decision. Excuse me. So I'm a bit dizzy. In my quest to consistently play the strongest board I can, I perhaps play too aggressively. I think is the answer here. You know, I have a Guard Breaker on her, but she has single target damage. So I just have to hope that she manages to target the people I want her to. So fortunately, I do find Superfan. So I have Superfan, I have Guardian, I have True Damage active. You know, we have a lot of pieces together here. All the pieces except for this Evelynn. This Evelynn just simply is a bit out of place, let's say. Where I'm surely not effectively playing around her in the way that I could be. And again, you know, we have that Crowd Diver effect, but as soon as Evelynn's dead, what am I doing? So this stage 2 definitely went much worse than my previous stage 2. So now we're going to be approaching, you know, a new inflection point of how do we proceed from here. And I also try to sacrifice this dummy, see if he can drop me some gold on neutrals, but it cannot. You can no longer get, you can't get gold on neutrals anymore from augments or anything like that. So we sell those two, but now we have 80 items. Look at this, we have a bunch of 80 items. What do we do with all this? So let's look at this board again. Again, we're on the important inflection point. We have items to slam potentially. We have we have items that we may want to slam. We have an augment coming up. We'll want to keep in mind. Do we want econ? Do we want combat power? Do we want a trait specific augment? And then of course the decision what to do with our headliner. Do we buy a new? Do we sell our headliner? Do we level up? Do we roll? Do we do some combination of those? What do you think? Well, let's find out. Let's find out. And then also another big thing to think about is if you are going to sell your headliner and roll for a new one, who replaces it? What replaces it here? That is the important question. And I'm considering if I do what I do with this Gnar, and I probably ditch it. And I do ditch it. I do ditch the Gnar. I say Gnar is not part of this story. And I go up against a Nami, and so one bit of CC onto this Evelynn, and the fight's over. Like awesome. I got my Crowd Diver effect, but what is that gonna do? You know, I have no more damage remaining. So trying to carry an Evelynn with Crowd Diver, not the greatest. So you get misconnections, Indomitable Will, Cybernetic Bulk. A bit confused, but I'll take Indomitable Will. And I see this Aphelios right away, which I'm very much interested in, and I end up going for. And so I slam a Guard Breaker, i.e., you know, good synergy. I still have Superfan active. I'm rolling to star up some units. I see what else I can fit in, and we're in a decent spot. I think this is a decent board. You know, we have a bit of a Kai'Sa carry, we have a bit of an Aphelios carry. We got some pieces together. But meanwhile, we're up against somebody who recombobed into Twisted Fate and Karthus. So, but overall, this board seems to be put together for now. But the tricky part is where does this board go? You know, we have some pieces together. We're playing some good tempo. But of course, it's how do we combine all these things? You know, do I ditch the Echo for KDA, which is something that I do decide to do? It looks like, but is that necessarily the best option? It's too late now. We end up doing it. So we've ditched Echo entirely. Now we're trying to make KDA work for us with Aphelios carrying in the back. So Aphelios is not. I mean, it's getting benefit from KDA, of course, but is not directly synergizing with the board I have put together here. Fortunately, we're able to win. We have an open sword on our Kai'Sa. So what item do you go for here? With an open sword on your Kai'Sa, we have some double AD backline setup going. What do you try to grab on this carousel? Well, I go for another Infinity Edge and a Vest. Is that the best option here? Very questionable. Very questionable if you ask me. And I have Slam in the IE. I end up making a Gargoyle Stoneplate. So, you know, I have some power available to me. I can get Echo back. And do you level? Do you level here? I don't level. Interesting. So in hindsight, you know, I think leveling might have been valuable there. You get true damage active. You can guarantee keep the streak because my front line is abysmal. Can I win this though? Can I win this? I do manage to win it. I make 50. So, you know, actually I stand by not leveling. But now I think I level. Now I think I go for the level to try and keep the streak alive. So overall good game so far. You know, I've managed to stabilize on stage 3. I'm in a position for power. I throw Set in for Mosher, which is a very questionable decision if you ask me. You know, Mosher isn't necessarily a trait I'm super stoked about, and I end up losing. I'm punished for such a strange addition to my team. So I'm a bit lost now. Fortunately, the econ's good. Thanks to this target dummy up front. But you know, we mix streak to end this. We're in a very suspect position. And so boom, there we go. We slam the redemption. Now, of course, we have the same decision that we always do. Next turn, we're gonna get an augment. What augment are we looking for? Do we want to sell our headliner? Do we want to level up? How deep do we want to roll? Consider your answers now, and we'll let the fight play out. Now, personally, what I'm likely going to do is I'm going to be looking for either big shots or rapid fires. I want to transition into that, and I think this is a case where I definitely do sell my headliner, simply because I just don't have proper synergies active. This headliner does not fit into the team I've put together. But this team I've put together is strange regardless. You know, I'm holding on to these superfans for too long without too much consideration into what else I can accomplish here. So for augment choice, you have Martyr, Three's a Crowd, Magic Wand. Martyr, personal favorite of mine. It's simply strong combat power. Three's a Crowd doesn't fit in well. Magic Wand, you know, I have an AD set up here. So I do end up rolling through. Ooh, and I end up leaning into You Have My Bow. Again, I'm leaning into an AD setup, but there we go. There's a final item. We have a red buff, Rage Blade, and then a mixture of stuff. So we have some good things going here. But I think, look at this, look at this. I'm scared from last game. Last game I sold my headliner and caused problems for me. So here I just level and do nothing. Very, very interesting decision out of me. So I guess my thought is, I believe my thought in the game was to, you know, let's not spend too much money now. Let's sack a couple and see if we can start rolling on 4-5. At what cost though? At what cost? We're up against a guy who's incredibly strong, and we're going to be bleeding out a ton of HP along those lines. So I managed to find you know, a Tahm Kench. Sweet. I get Bruiser in. I get Bruiser in for Set, but why do I have Set in? I have Set in for Mosher on Gnar, but why do I have Gnar in? Oh, for Superfan, but why do I have Superfan in? You know, it's I'm matching traits, but you know, for why though? And another big loss. I'm at 26 health on stage 4. It is tragic. It is tragic. Fortunately, I'm gonna have the first pick of items. And so now what do you want here? Now my cursor may have given it away, but the things I want is I want some tank items for sure, and 2, I want a unit that can hopefully synergize with this 80 backline carry. And it looks like Lucian might just do that for me. So fortunately, despite being second pick, I do manage to get Warmogs on Lucian, which is okay. You know, it's acceptable. It gets the job done for me. And now the key moment comes in. So I ditch that, and I find a Caitlyn, which is an excellent upgrade. So I managed to find a headliner Caitlyn. She has 8-bit active. So now all I need is rapid fire in, but thankfully I have this Lucian, right? Ooh, no, not right. I'm too slow. I'm too slow and too dang scared. Too slow and too scared to get anything done. But fortunately, the itemization on her is on Caitlyn is very good, but it's not good enough. 14 health. All because I couldn't play this dang Lucian. So now I'm in panic mode. Now I go full recombob. You know, I'm trying to fit stuff on this Lucian. I see I have a big shot. I have a front line, but this front line doesn't really add up with my team. I still have Superfan in. I'm playing a Yorick for Mosher and Guardian. So I managed to pivot into a full Guardian front line. But it still just isn't enough. 2 HP. 2 HP and a Dream. So I find a Jhin. I think that's good. But I definitely need to do something with this front line. And so I'm slowly trying to piece things together. You know, I'm gonna end up losing Superfan, but I need more Guardians in, and then I keep Gnar for the Mosher, and he's a 2-star. I get a Gunblade available to me, which is actually a great find. Let's not sleep past that. But we're in desperation rolling mode now. Again, we're hard stuck level 8 because we cannot figure out what in the world to do. We end up with a 2-star Yorick, which is pretty cool. 2-star Yorick allows us to, you know, gives us a little stronger. That gives us some juice in the front line. But now with Superfan out, you know, what am I doing with all of these Superfans in? They're not doing much. I have a potential Jhin on the bench, but we're not playing that. And so we manage to escape an 8th. You know, we don't go 8th, but we're still just in pure desperation mode. So now I get a Blitzcrank 2. I end up selling I sell a 2-star unit for the Blitzcrank 2, 0 items, 0 synergies, but he's out there. And fortunately, this Gunblade on Caitlyn is able to keep me a bit stronger. I end up beating this Twisted Fate guy. And now I'm just looking, I'm like, all right, well, I guess it's just a Guardian frontline. I guess these are just the pieces I need. You know, there's a Thresh. You know, can I 2-star this Thresh? I need something in for this Vi. Like, Mosher isn't doing much for me. But what can I play? Also, I wanted the Urgot because it's a better Mosher, and it gives me Country as well to synergize with my my other frontliner. But unfortunately, to even play him, I have to sell an Amumu. So now I'm stuck not getting an Amumu too. But we're fighting with every last breath. And I see a Jazz Emblem there. Is Jazz Emblem the best take? Probably. I don't have any traits active, but at least Jazz is going to give me a power spike, right? That's the best thing I can do. And so I missed the Mumu 2. I get Poppy in, that gives me Emo and Mosher, slightly more traits to help boost Jazz. And I'm still dizzy as it gets. And a Lucian shows up in my shop. And I am unable to purchase it. Does that change the game? Does that doom me? So it doesn't appear to doom me, and I end up selling everything for this Lucian, which I think is a bit of a mistake, because I can't play up the next turn anyways. Might as well lock. You know, let's hold on to that Thresh. We don't want to miss our chance at a Thresh too, but fortunately we get a Lucian, so now we're looking pretty hot. You know, we have a bunch of traits active. We have Mosher. We have a bunch of things. I really want this Poppy. But we have a solid front line. We have, you know, two-star backliners, decent items on both of them. And now we see somebody with a headliner Lucian and a real team. And so what happens to me here? Well, I die. 6th place, not even close, knocked out of the tournament. How sad. But again, I think it's worth focusing on, you know, what do we learn from here? So first of all, is the big takeaway I have is that ladder play is for learning. You know, I love the alliteration. Ladder play is for learning. When I'm playing games in solo queue and I'm going up against randos, those are the times where I want to take Evelynn and for the first time and see what kind of items I can use on her and how to exhibit strength with an Evelynn. Those are the times where I want to figure out how I can play around certain augments properly. Once you're in competition, you need to exploit the things that you know. This is where I need to be playing you need to be forcing the comps that I know are strong. And the second big takeaway I have from this one is don't let the past scare you. In game 1, the biggest blunder I made was selling that Kale and buying a new and attempting to find a new headliner. In this game, that is exactly what I should have done. Aphelios did not fit on my board. I did not know what I was doing, but I knew for a fact that Aphelios did not make the cut. So, those are the things that I put together. That's how I learned Infinite from this tournament. You know, it was only 2 games, but they were 2 games that, you know, opened my eye. It was my first experience playing in a tournament. I was definitely nervous. I definitely let the jitters get to me. But, you know, I've gone through this experience now, and now I know how to play this game better, first of all, and how to perform in a tournament better, second of all. So, I hope that my past failure will be able to empower me to become better and stronger and make a better performance in future tournaments. And I hope that this failure and the learnings from it can also help you in your games, whether you plan on climbing the ladder and simply want to see some tips and tricks on how to do so successfully, or if you plan on entering tournaments yourself. You know, these are things that you want to keep in mind as you enter an even more competitive setting than the TFT ranked ladder. So, I hope you all enjoyed this analysis video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.